Just outside of Albuquerque, New Mexico, is Rinconada Canyon, one of the focal points of Petroglyph National Monument and home to thousands upon thousands of petroglyphs carved into this volcanic rock. If you choose to come out here and see these amazing petroglyphs, make sure that you are well protected from the sun and have lots of water. This place is close to the city, but no joke. The puebloan people had a spiritual connection to this igneous rock. And as this rock ages, it develops a patina. And it's into that patina or varnish that the petroglyphs are carved. There are over 23,000 petroglyphs here in Petroglyph National Monument. The interesting thing is that the puebloan people who made these petroglyphs didn't actually live here. They lived about 3 or 4 miles away down by the Rio Grande River. This petroglyph was particularly interesting to me because it looks like a bear track. Bears don't live on this side of the Rio Grande or where these people were living by the Rio Grande, but they would have easy access to the Sandia Mountains where there were plenty of bears. The Pueblo people didn't actually have a true written language like we think of it. That's what we think a lot of these petroglyphs were ways of communicating ideas and thoughts. So what these writings were is actually the names of sheep herders that were here. And scattered amongst the petroglyphs, you'll find references to Christianity or their brands or things like that. So you have to be able to decipher the difference between sheep herders and petroglyphs. Most of these petroglyphs were created between 1000 BC and AD 1700. But what's interesting is how they know that. There's all different ways of dating them, from how the varnish is coming back to other things, like if there are sheep depicted, they know when the Spanish brought sheep. By superimposing these petroglyphs on other petroglyphs that they know when they were carved. So there are all kinds of different ways that they can relatively date these. They never know for exact. If you come here to see the petroglyphs, I would recommend bringing a pair of binoculars and at the very least a very keen eye. So, as I've panned across, have you seen any petroglyphs? Right there's a whole bunch. The question everybody really wants answered, though, is what do they all mean? And it's a frustrating answer because we really just don't know. They may have been used for communication, they may have been used for trade, or they may have had spiritual significance. The fact of the matter is, we just don't know. There are so many factors that went into what they mean. Archaeologists even believe the aspect, the way they were facing, may have meant different things. So we just have to be comfortable with, we just don't know. These places are always fascinating, and people are always like enthralled by what the petroglyphs might have meant and all. And that's kind of interesting. I don't want to lie. I would be interested to know what they mean, but I'm always just struck by the fact that there were people living here. And I think about those people and what they were doing or what they were thinking about as they were carving them. You know, they were just everyday, normal people trying to scratch out a life on a relatively hard landscape So it's the people that I always think about who made the petroglyphs. Well, we appreciate you watching. Hope you tune in to our next one, and we'll see you then.